Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and today I have for you some Confederate notes that we don't see that often. All right, so this $50 bill at first looks pretty familiar because the Jefferson Davis design was kept for years later, so into the end of the Confederacy here. But this is from 1861, the T-16 note. PMG called this a VF30. We'll take a look at that a little bit. And see, one of the things, of course, that's different about this note compared to some of the later issues is that this is uniface, and some of the later issues that we had were not. A lot of those notes had some writing on the back of them. This note also has this really nice green background to it, which is something that a lot of the other notes don't have from the same style and type. Some of those later notes have that red and pink background. This note, they only made 426,000 of these. So if you think about that in the realm of coins, that'd be a really low mintage. And now in paper money, you're talking about a note, what the survival rate has got to be really, really low on these guys. We'll take a little bit closer look here. Of course, we've got the Richmond, the September 1861. That's pretty cool, September 2nd, 1861. And of course, you see that ink because it was hand signed, and there's a note on here, of course, that says for treasurer. It doesn't say treasurer. Same, I think, on this one. Look at that, for registrar, right? Because what they found out was that the treasurer and the register didn't have 365 days to sign banknotes, right? So they had people doing it on their behalf and their behest. And of course, the hand-dated serial number is one of my favorites. And then there's a little bit of cool detail under here in the green section where it says 50 inside of the 50. It has it both numerically and then written out. Kind of a fun little feature there. They did try to keep everything as hard to counterfeit as they could. This note in this grade is about a $300 note, and overall pretty cool. But this note has a feature that I really like, because some of these banknotes were made with a watermark and on paper with a watermark. So there's the big CSA, Confederate States of America. Really beautiful script on a watermark. Watermarks date back to the, I think, the early 1700s. And you'll see older French banknotes that actually have watermarks on them. So pretty cool feature on that banknote there. Overall, the VF30 grade, usually you're talking about a banknote that has a lot of circulation to it, but a lot of firmness still. And that's, I think, what you have really nicely on this note. It's a good example. Next up, we have a T-26. Now, this is a fun banknote. This is one that I haven't really had. And what a really handsome design this is. The banknote especially, I mean, it's not just the design, but rarely do we see, banknotes from that time period that's that white. You'll see a little bit of toning up on this end, which in paper, the paper industry, sometimes you'll see the word foxing, and usually they're referring to some type of paper, I'm going to use the term problem, something that is in the coin world, we'd probably call it some type of toning. Now, overall, you'll see this note, of course, is actually also uniface. And you can see a heavy fold down the middle here, or not the middle, but on that side. And the note itself has another stronger fold at this end through the portrait. But the note's really strong, so they call this a VF35. And to be honest with you, if this were my note and I got it graded, it only came back a VF, I'd probably be upset because the note looks really wonderful. Of course, 6 months after the ratification of the Treaty of Peace between the CS and US. So here we go with some banknotes. This was printed in 1861. This is 514,400 notes issued. Also, these were printed or signed for the treasurer and for the register and for the treasurer. Also hand signed and hand dated. Gentleman on the left is RMT Hunter, and the gentleman on the right is CJ Meminger. The center allegory is hope, with an anchor, Hope on the anchor. The anchor doesn't pop up right away, but she is sitting on an anchor. And there you have a boat in the background, looking towards the future, as Hope does. And there's a caduceus and a cornucopia, which are both commonly used to represent health and wealth. All right, really cool note. Also, this note's probably in that $300 ballpark. A note I rarely see, and I like the big X's on there to represent 10. The X's came, actually, this note design's the same as the one before it, but the one before it doesn't have the big X's on it. So not all your X's live in Texas. Some of them are down in Richmond, apparently. Finally, I've got a T-10. Now, this is one of the earliest type notes that I've owned from the Confederacy. This note's really interesting. You know, it's a little more crude and rudimentary looking than some of the other notes that we've had in. And it's very well worn. That's one of the issues here. You've got it graded a fine 15. You know, and being a well-worn note, that's going to make it look, you know, this type of paper, it just got dingy and dirty. You know, a fine is a note that's going to be really well-worn, heavily circulated. Think of like most of the $1 bills that you get in change. They're probably just going to be like a fine. It's just really well-worn. You know, but you know, you don't want any rips or tears in it or anything like that. So this note, they only made 170,000 of. 170,994. They were issued from July 25th, 1861 to November 2nd, 1861. And of course, you've got the nice hand serial numbered, and you see the serial numbers are red, but the signatures are in a dark ink, which is kind of fun. Also, this is for register, but this is, you can understand that they got that. They figured that out pretty early on. You know, considering this is the type 10 note, that you couldn't just go on forever and ever having those guys just sign stuff. So this note here on the left-hand side, you have an allegory of commerce. And commerce, you know, it's hard to tell. I mean, I don't know how much work they did. It looks like she's got a couple packages that she's handling, but you know, that's not a whole lot of action there on that commerce. In the middle is liberty and the shield with the eagle. And then you have several different types of 10s with these backgrounds that were designed to stop counterfeiting. Those were all hand cut. You know, so it's really impressive for the time period, but really basic also. It's kind of got a fun look to it. Overall, pretty cool banknote. And there's the Liberty cap on that, on the center Liberty figure. Uniface, like a lot of the first issues were. And this note is very scarce with that under 200,000 made. I don't say I've never owned one of these. It's been a long time since I've owned a T-10. And this note trades also for in that $300 ballpark roughly. So anyway, really cool looking note, also issued in Richmond. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.